Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Nerds with Friends. My name is Cody Leach, and I'm joined by Christian Garcia.
Yo,
And
I'm jazzed.
I'm sorry I burped right before that.
I told you. I told you were gonna do it. I'm jazzed. Jazzed. I don't want to jinx it, but possibly, quite possibly, I might get my PS5 tomorrow.
Yeah, I know.
Possibly.
That's exciting time.
It was exciting to me until this guy fucking like jinxed it for me. Like, oh, dude, you're gonna get it 2020. I'm like, fuck. I
Last
forgot.
day of 2020.
Like, dude, I'm gonna get the one that's definitely gonna fucking like blue screen on me. Watch.
You open it up. It's got the box and everything. You open it all up, and it's the Xbox.
It's,
Son of a bitch.
Watch, or just rocks or whatever they were doing in England.
Yeah. Yes. The old box of rocks trick.
Yeah.
Works every time. Yeah. If you're listening to this, it's already 2021. So
Yeah.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
So fun stuff. We are recording this the day before New Year's Eve, so we still have to make it through 2 more days.
Yeah.
Before
We start dodging zombies or whatever
Yeah,
fucking
exactly.
aliens are coming.
whatever the world has for us next. But yeah, we have a bunch to talk about. Today we are going to be talking about Wonder Woman.
And why Cody hates women.
It's not true. I only hate this one particular one. Yeah, we're going to be talking about Wonder Woman 1984. Just got released on HBO Max, as well as select theaters wherever people don't care about public health.
Yeah, or your own health.
Yeah. Make sure you guys, you can find all of our information on nerdswithfriendspodcast.com. That has our Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok.
And our tea.
And our tea. You can pick up a bag of Nerd Tea Confessions, and you can also buy some Phoenix Fit stuff, which we haven't checked in with for quite some time.
Our loads haven't been quite as big.
Yeah, that's true. I know. Yeah, I know. I haven't been sleeping as well. That's definitely for sure. And that stuff worked fairly well. But before we get into all of that shenanigans, let's talk some nerdy confessions, where we confess the things that make us nerds. You want to go first?
Yes, I have been binging because Netflix. I don't know why Netflix did this. So I've been binging this show called 60 Days In. Have you seen it? Heard about it?
Nope.
So they take regular, average-ass people, they put them in jail for 60 days to get information on like possible like how drugs are being smuggled in, or if correctional officers are being dipshits. So it's like to get an unbiased view from the inside. So obviously the correctional officers aren't going to get good information. And fuck me, it's good reality TV. It's like it's good. It's bad reality TV that's good, if that makes sense. It's like bad, good TV.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Netflix put on the newest season. I binged that shit. I just watched all of it. And I'm like, cool. I was like, I shouldn't have started with the last season. Let me go back. And there was nothing fucking there. I'm like, they only had the newest season.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that happen on a couple different series.
Someone else told me that Netflix will put like one season and something. Why the fuck would you do that?
Well, yeah, I think they have like, diners, dive-ins, and drives or whatever, and they'll have they'll just have like the latest 2 seasons or something.
That's fucking weird.
Yeah.
But luckily for me, it was on Hulu.
Oh, nice.
So I just started season 1. But I like Hulu. Got good shows. But fuck me, why am I paying for a service and still gotta watch commercials?
Oh yeah, I broke down and actually pay for the no commercials on Hulu.
Fuck that.
I know it sucks, but I watch a lot of anime on Hulu because they have a pretty good selection on there, and if you've ever watched anime, you know that like for every, especially like serialized stuff like Naruto or Bleach or Dragon Ball Z, whatever. You know that every single episode that comes out, like the first 3 minutes is the fucking intro song, right?
Yeah.
With the J-pop.
Heavy guitar riff.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the next 5 minutes are the last 5 minutes of last week's.
Yes.
Then you get approximately 12 minutes of new content. And then it's the outro super long credit song. And then it's like next week,
Yeah.
So you're only getting like 12 minutes of new content every episode. And I really wish one of the, streaming services would figure out anime where like
when to put the commercial?
Well, not even that, just like so they could chop it up so I could literally just watch the story unfold rather than see the intro every single time and the outro.
You know
every
what's
time.
funny enough is 60 Days In and does the same thing.
Yeah.
Here's what happened last. Here's what's gonna happen new, and like
Yeah.
you get the good stuff, and it's only like a little chunk. But man, that good stuff is fucking good.
Yeah. And Netflix will do it on some stuff where you can skip intro if you hit the button fast enough, and that's cool, but they don't do it on everything.
No.
Because I'm sure there's an intern there like, okay, here, you're watching this whole thing, and now. And that's when it starts.
What sucks with Hulu is like so if you're doing it on your, I don't know, I'm sure it's all iPads, but if you're watching on an iPad,
Yeah.
I tried like just skipping ahead. If you try skipping ahead just a little bit, it'll bring you back to the beginning of the fucking episode.
Oh, cool.
I'm like, dude, I was just a third in. Like, what the fuck?
I know. I hate. All the streaming apps. I gotta hand it to Netflix, even though in the last year or so,
Keep raising the prices.
Well, yeah, they keep raising the prices. Now Comcast raising the price too. But I will say that as far as like an interface, they seem to have it locked down.
Yeah. HBO Max is pretty good.
Skip forward works good. HBO Max works pretty good.
Hulu's the worst.
One thing I'll say about HBO Max, I don't know if you get this, but I'll get the 3 little dots every once in a while, like under the widescreen bar,
No, I do not get that.
Yeah, every once in a while that happens. I'll be watching a movie and then you'll see doot like a little loading thing, and then it'll go away.
Maybe it's your TV.
Maybe I don't know. But anyway, yeah,
60 Days In.
60 Days In.
Watch it.
Sounds interesting. Just a lot of poor people just getting raped.
It's
I don't know where the drugs are coming from, but my asshole can't take much more of this.
at least so far, no one has.
And that's what they say. They cut that part out.
Maybe.
There's like 10 more characters on that show.
And they always put the one douchebag. You're like, oh, that guy's not gonna fucking.
That
make
guy's
it.
gonna be someone's bitch.
Yeah, that guy's gonna get.
Hold my pocket.
Well, yeah, that guy's someone's gonna beat the shit out of that person for sure.
Very cool. Well, my nerdy confession this week is, I like we said, we're gonna watch. We're gonna talk about Wonder Woman 1984. In preparation of this episode, I was going to rewatch Wonder Woman 1984, and then I got like a quarter way into it, and I couldn't do it anymore. So today I watched the original Wonder Woman again, and I'll talk a little bit more about the comparison between the two once we actually start discussing 84. But I will say, God, I forgot how good that movie was.
I saw it like twice when it was out,
Yeah.
and I need to rewatch it.
And one thing I'll say too is Chris Pine he just has such raw charisma.
Oh yeah,
He steals the scene whenever he's on screen, and he's excellent. And I really want a new Star Trek movie to come out with him. I think we are all owed.
Wasn't there talks like Quentin Tarantino directing one?
Yeah, but Quentin Tarantino throws a lot of weird stuff out there.
It could happen. I'd be curious.
I would watch the shit out of it. It's just one of those things that, sometimes you hear an idea like that, and when you hear it, you're like, oh, that would be pretty awesome. But I just can't see the big movie companies going for it.
Definitely have some 70s music in there, touch in on the original show maybe a little bit.
Everyone just barefoot.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, God.
Just sucking on Uhura's toes or something.
What was the last one he did? Once Upon the Hollywood one?
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
When he just put that teen girl's feet like right
up on the window.
Yeah, it's like all right, dude, like we get it, you're into feet, but why are you bringing me into this? Like, do that in the audition, whatever you saw it, but like
I'm very suggestible, Quentin Tarantino. Now I'm into feet. Great.
It's like I don't like why are you doing that?
Oh, I know why he's doing it.
Yeah, I know.
He spent a lot of time in the old editing bay.
Yeah, probably
by himself. Yeah, I don't know. I'm interested. I really enjoy every movie that Quentin Tarantino does. But he's one of those directors that he really leaves his mark on a movie. You know what I mean? So it'd be interesting to see, like, I can't see him doing just a straight up Star Trek movie.
He might,
but
I don't know.
I'd be down. I'm down to watch it.
Him and Robert Rodriguez can team up again.
Robert Rodriguez, I think, would, while he does have his own style, I think he could definitely do a good job. He did a good job on Mandalorian.
Yeah, I liked Predator. It didn't do too well, but I liked
Predator. Mm-hmm. Yep, I thought it was good. He definitely knows action. That's
for
sure.
sure.
Yeah. Okie dokie. Well,
You sound so happy about it.
really don't want to talk about Wonder Woman. So instead, we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back with our in-depth, spoiler-filled... Actually, before we go to break, Christian, spoiler-less review. A few words about it.
Spoiler-less review?
Yeah.
Um,
Should people watch it?
Yes, because I like talking about the weirdness in it. So yes, watch it. But it wasn't good. I'll just say it wasn't good.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll get into it. It's hard for me to talk about it without
spoiling. Yeah. Yeah, I'd say my spoiler-free review. If you if you haven't seen it yet, and you're gonna stop this episode, which I guess I understand, but I'd prefer you didn't. I'd say definitely there's good parts in it. There's some fun little moments where you're like, if you're a Wonder Woman fan or a comic book fan, it definitely has a couple cool parts in there, and there's some fun action. But overall, the movie was just, I don't know. I thought it was a train wreck. So I don't know. If you're a Wonder Woman fan, watch it. I mean, if you're just bored, I guess you could watch it, but don't expect much. Is my short and sweet version.
We didn't leave a lot of space for people that did like it.
Yeah.
To just be like, oh.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sorry, forgive me. I was going through my phone earlier, but I plan on possibly reading some comments.
Yeah,
what people thought.
We got quite a few comments on our post on Instagram. So if you want to be part of those things where it's just me arguing with our fans, follow us on Instagram at Nerds with Friends. But let's take a quick break. Then we'll come back and we're going to throw some spoilers in your face and really get down to the nitty gritty on Wonder Woman 1984. So we will be right back. And we're back. Okay. Wonder Woman 1984. Directed by Patty Jenkins, who I have a bone to pick with now. And starring Gal Gadot.
I don't know. Got it.
I think the proper way to do it is to pronounce the T, even though I want to say Gadot. It's Gadot, I think.
Got it.
Got it?
She got it.
Gal got it. That gal got it.
I don't know.
Yeah, so it just came out again on HBO Max in certain theaters as well. It was supposed to originally be out. When was it?
I don't know.
Earlier this year?
I think it was earlier this year.
Yeah, maybe summertime. And luckily now Warner Brothers has signed a deal where all of their movies coming out in 2021 will also be streaming on HBO Max for like a month.
Nice.
So I think that's what the deal is with this one. So it's available till I think January 25th, and then they're going to take it off for a while and then bring it back again or something.
I don't know.
Some weird corporate thing so they can get the most money possible out of it.
All right, so we're going to get into it. Hit the spoiler button.
Spoiler button.
All right. You going to start or am I going to?
Why don't you start, Christian?
All right, so we already said spoilers.
So the movie is divisive. Let's just say that.
Sure.
Because we have talked to several people online and in person who liked it very much.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
I haven't. I'll be honest. Online and Instagram, I haven't asked people, and I was getting close. I just ran to be like, "Hey, man, like, tell me what you liked about it," because I'm curious. But then with online stuff, there's no tones, and like, I don't want people to think like
it is hard to tell.
Like, I'm not asking to be a dick. I'm just like curious, like what you really thought about it.
Yeah, like when I called it a hot pile of trash on Instagram, I think a lot of people got upset with.
Oh
me.
yeah.
Like, and I mean, I'm not joking. I did not like the movie at all, but at the same time, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to say if you like the movie, you're a hot pile of trash.
No.
That's not what I was going for. It's just one of those like, oof. That was a rough one.
Like and millions of people love Temple of Doom, and Cody hates it.
I hate it. So,
but we're cool. Like,
yeah, it's fine. We can have differing opinions, and it's fine. And even if that movie is, objectively terrible, some people love it for some reason. It's a weird nostalgia thing.
And look, like this for me is like, Cody will say, I like bad movies. And even I thought this. I was the first one to say, like, I told Cody, I'm like, yo, this movie's really fucking bad. Like, this is bad.
So I watched it with my family, as I imagine most people did, over Christmas. And, my dad and my sister were there watching it. And this is one of the few superhero movies my dad has actually seen. And, he grew up with Wonder Woman and Superman.
What did he say?
He kind of left to go talk to his girlfriend 3/4 of the way through. And so I guess he wasn't impressed.
Okay.
But he was like, I thought it was okay. And my sister's like, I thought it was okay. And I'm just like, well, I thought it was terrible. And it's really weird being the guy who like put it on and whose idea it was to watch it, because I was super excited to watch it, and then have it just turn into a shit fest.
This was my thing, and I wasn't gonna bring it up online, but I'm definitely gonna bring it up here.
Yeah.
So she wished, the whole wishing part, which I thought was wacky. But
right. So the plot in a nutshell, I guess we should say, is Wonder Woman's in the 80s. She works at the Smithsonian.
Yes.
And she comes across this stone that is a wishing stone.
Yeah,
right?
Which for whatever reason, no one else figured that out. But so
yeah, and so basically, the bad guy of the movie, Pedro Pascal, gets his hands on it, and it's kind of like a monkey's paw, where every time you ask for a wish from it, it grants that wish, but also something bad happens.
Yeah, it'll take something away.
It takes something away from you, and that's kind of the conflict of the movie. So yeah.
So Wonder Woman wishes for Chris Pine. Okay, sure. Whatever. She didn't know that was going to happen. She
wishes that Steve Trevor's back alive.
Yeah, she didn't, like, she was just kind of like, joking, like, which is fine. Like, that's not my issue.
Well, here's the thing, too, is she doesn't say it.
Well, in her mind.
In her mind. Everyone else in the fucking movie has to say, I wish.
Well, she's Wonder Woman, so you could just say that.
Okay.
So, but that's not even my issue. My issue was that in order for him to come back, he had to take over someone else's body. Which at first she sees that person, but it's, the memories that brings out, and then she can only see Chris Pine, which is really weird. To me, that was a little weird.
It was a weird way of handling that.
Right. My big issue was she did not give a one fuck that this dude's life was interrupted.
Yeah.
Like, his family didn't know where he was. His work didn't know where he was. She has sex with the body without consent.
Yeah. I mean, now, did when they had sex with each other, did she have Chris Pine's dick?
No, it was the whole time. It was the other dude. They put this dude's life in danger the whole time, like when they're adventuring and doing things. Yeah. If Chris Pine would have died, he would have died.
Maybe. Yeah.
And at no point did she ever consider, I'm being a little selfish by ruining this guy's life.
Right.
Which to me isn't hero stuff.
Right.
Like, if they had not used the other body and Chris Pine just came to life, that would have been avoided. All of that would have been avoided.
Well, there was literally no reason for it to happen the way it happened.
Absolutely.
Right? Like,
no one else had to give up bodies for their wishes, or
well, yeah. So a big part of my problem with the movie is that the movie doesn't follow its own rules, right?
Right.
So, throughout the entire movie, you have to say, I wish for this, while touching the rock, or later on touching Max Lord, and say, I wish for this. And then, the wish happens. And Wonder Woman doesn't do that. She just kind of like longingly looks into it, and you're like, oh, that's kind of weird. And then Steve Trevor comes back.
Yeah.
Which I get it. I guess, it doesn't spoil that he's coming back, right? But everyone else has to say it out loud. And at one point, Pedro Pascal is like pressuring people to say, wouldn't you wish for that?
Yeah.
Say I'd wish for it.
Yeah.
So like the rule of The Rock is that you have to say it.
But she's Wonder Woman.
Unless you're Wonder Woman. And then throughout the movie also, everyone gets one wish, right?
Yeah.
Until Cheetah decides that she wants a second wish, and he's like, you know what? I'm feeling generous, so here's a second wish. So every single time, they keep breaking their own rules. So as an audience member, it leaves you like, well, okay, well, how does this work now?
Well, it could have been maybe off screen. He had someone else wouldn't you wish for her to look like the thing from Cats? So, I mean.
No, she was like, I want to be an apex predator. And he literally says, I'm feeling generous. So, I'll grant you a second wish. but no one else can grant, gets a second wish throughout the whole thing. So that was a huge problem with it. But that's one thing that I really didn't care for was that, the whole body swap thing with Chris Pine made no sense.
Yes.
Like structurally, like.
But again, and my biggest thing is that it made her look like a bad person. Like,
right. A self-centered person.
And like that, which and from the first movie, she was the complete opposite of that.
Right.
Like she like gave up her home to go help humanity. Like she was like, the world needs me.
Yeah.
But I guess she really needed the D. I don't know.
So, yeah. Well, she was lonely. I mean, I understand part of her motivation because, this takes place in 1984, and the last time she was with someone presumably was back in like 1918, right?
Yeah, so about 70 years.
Right. So she's been, and there was a cool little callback to the first movie in a picture frame in her apartment. She's with the lady who was Steve's secretary. Remember that from the first movie, where they're like getting her dressed and stuff. So, and you see her as an old lady. So you realize that all of her friends and everyone she's known is dead.
Yeah.
Except for the Amazons, but she can't go back to Themyscira to see her family. So she's very much alone. So I get that. Like, that's a decent motivation to want Steve back. But there was no payoff for having him do the body swap. He still disappears off screen.
Yeah.
He comes back off screen, essentially. It's just, what's the point? I just don't understand.
The other issue I had, I'm like, the intro was actually kind of cool with the little kid. That was cool. It was a 20 minutes of an intro.
Sure.
For a Care Bear lesson that didn't even matter at the end.
That was a huge problem I had. And it's one of those things that, looking back at the first movie, it made no sense, because in the first movie it starts again as she's a little kid growing up on Themyscira, learning to be an Amazon warrior, right? So for one thing, the lesson she learns in that beginning section,
cheating is bad.
Cheating is bad.
But what they
lying is bad.
Yeah, the truth is,
you've got to live your truth, or whatever, right? Some, Wonder Woman, she's all about truth and love and justice or whatever, right? That's fine. But that lesson that she learns never comes back.
And never paid off.
So if she had somehow cheated to beat Cheetah, right? I know that's a hard sentence to unpack. If she had somehow taken the easy way of getting rid of one of her problems, and then that blew up in her face somehow, then that would make more sense, because it's like, oh, okay, well, now she's got to remember the lesson that she learned as a small child, and that learning comes back to her, and she's like, oh, I can't take the easy way, I've got to do the hard way. But that never happens. And so
I did remember someone, I think it was in the comments, said that like that lesson was to Cheetah, because Cheetah was cheating, and then like that was the payoff. I was like, yeah, but like
Cheetah wasn't there in the prequel,
and they never talked about it. It's not like there was an exchange or something.
Like, right. And and you're right. Now that you point that out, it is a good lesson for Cheetah. She gains these powers instantly without having to work for them, without
she gave up her humanity.
She gives up her humanity. Sure, I can. It makes a little bit more sense that way, right? But that lesson never came back to Wonder Woman. Also, what's crazy is that, so she's a little girl. How old did you say she is? I don't know. I don't know children's
10,
age.
8,
8, something like that. 9, something like that. Small little kid
beating the brakes off these grown women.
Yeah. Just
which was awesome.
Which is awesome. Also didn't happen in the first movie, because she was like 13, 14, 15 when her mom found out that she was training at all in the first movie.
I didn't even watch the first one. But
she was forbidden to train, and so her aunt, what's her name, Antiope or something like that. Robin Wright's character from Forrest Gump, and she starts training her in secret, and her mom, the queen, doesn't find out about it until she's like well into her teens. Like, I'd say, again, I don't know children's ages anymore. Like, I'm like, what is that kid, 4? He's like, I'm 19. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, same thing.
And so, she was like probably 15 or 16 when the queen actually finds out about it. So the fact that she's competing at a level where she's beating all these other
It was
Amazons
just a relay race.
in front of everybody. Yeah, I guess. A
was
relay
just
race
really-
with like fucking bow and arrows and
Yeah.
shooting shit. Yeah, okay, cool.
How'd you feel about the golden suit? My thing, all right.
It makes for a great poster.
Did it not look a lot like the costume of one of the villains from the Power Rangers, the gold dude?
Oh, Goldar.
Is that what?
I think that's his name.
It's like a dog face or a wolf?
Yeah, dog face, and it did look kind of like that. Yeah,
It's like no one else pointing that out.
yeah, Asteria's armor or whatever. And it's so stupid.
Okay, my thing with that is the legend was that the hero who had it,
Asteria.
used it to block. Was it all of mankind?
Mm-hmm.
It shielded her from all of mankind so that everyone can escape.
So, like, I think it was like as because the Amazons used to live amongst men, and then basically Ares corrupted them or whatever, and so they decided to flee to their island to stay safe, and that's where Zeus like protected them and whatnot. And so as they were fleeing away to Themyscira, Asteria stays behind and holds them off by herself.
And
wearing
that
this
armor
badass
stayed pristine
Yeah,
because whenever we put it on, it was fine.
super powerful.
And then
You see it. You do see a statue of Asteria in the beginning scene too. Yeah.
and then some kitty scratches just busted it. It could not hold, and she had just gotten that power. Like,
Yeah.
she wasn't.
Yeah,
trained.
the armor just fell apart like an Iron Man 3 suit.
Yeah,
you know?
it was just falling apart.
Yeah. It didn't really. I mean,
And it looked cool. It was a cool looking suit.
Yeah, it looked cool. You know,
In a
shrugging
cooler Power Rangers suit thing.
Up, sure. And like shrugging off the wings was cool and stuff, but like you didn't really see the benefit of that suit.
No.
She took
Which
out,
is like, why bring it up at all?
yeah, she took out like 3 guards with it as she swooped in, and that was kind of cool. And then you realize it's like, oh, okay, well, now the wings are broken, and they didn't really protect her that much from this, super powered, but just one person. Yeah. Also, let's talk about the Lasso of Truth.
You mean whatever it needed to
The
be?
lasso of plot device.
The biggest one. Well, okay, we'll start with you first. What was the biggest thing that they did? You're like, what the fuck? The biggest one.
The biggest one, I'm either going to have to go with, it's a toss-up between two. It's either between lassoing a jet, a commercial
That was mine.
jet airliner
It's
out
like
of the
it
sky.
just went miles.
Yeah. And if you look at that scene, she's going from somewhere in Washington, D.C. back to her apartment. And she lassoed a jet.
And lightning.
And lightning is the second one. It's like, okay, I guess I can see, we've seen the lasso extend, right? It doesn't kind of play by normal physics rules. Okay, I guess she can lasso an airplane. But like lassoing lightning, like there's nothing physical to grab onto. And then it just, I don't know, it just didn't make sense. Then it split into 2.
That was my biggest. That was the first one. I was like, huh? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and like it's one of these things too, like and in the beginning scene when she's like running by secretly or whatever, and saving all these people throughout 1980s land. And like you'll see
And no 80s music.
that's another thing. This lady falls off this bridge, she's falling down, and she lassos out straight, and then you see the lasso grab this lady from above and gently place her on the ground. And it's like this thing's like lassoing at right angles. And
It was like the villain, the DC villain that could laser and move around.
I
Forgot his name. Darkseid.
Darkseid could do that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Believe so. Someone will call me out on it.
Yeah. Also, let's talk about no 80s music. I counted, now I wasn't paying attention as much during the first watch through, but as I was watching the second time, I only heard one 80s song. It was a Frankie Goes to Hollywood song and it's not the Frankie Goes to Hollywood song, right? Everyone remembers Relax, right? Relax, go to it when you want to go to it. The Zoolander song, right? It was some other one, and I'm like, oh, it sounds kind of like Frankie Goes to Hollywood. But like, that was the only one I remember.
Which in the previews they were doing the cool like New World Order mix, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be dope. Like if they do that, like
right?
And they didn't.
When you do a movie in the 80s, like a big part of it is you're expecting the nostalgia stuff, which I will say they did a good job, right?
Mm-hmm.
They, the dress of people, the hair, the cars, the mall scenes, when the girls are working out in their jazzercise, whatever the fuck those are.
Leg warmers,
that sort of stuff, so they had that for sure. But then there was the music, and, you expect to hear like, the Scorpions, Van Halen, all these different, like 80s hair metal bands or whatever. And like there was one song that I heard, and the rest was all, what's his name? Is it Hans Zimmer who does her?
I don't know. Yes.
Yeah. So, which is fine. The music sounds fine, but it's like it takes away from that 80s feel. And then let's talk a little bit about that too. Why was it in the 80s? What was the purpose of it being in the 80s?
Nostalgia,
I guess. Just trying to feed off that Stranger Things nostalgia market. So that was interesting. Also, a big part of this too is that we're kind of introduced to the secret identity of Diana Prince, right? Where she's now living amongst humans for a while now, and she doesn't necessarily want everyone to know that she's Wonder Woman.
Mm-hmm.
So in the first scene of her in the 1980s, we see her at a mall interrupting a jewel heist.
Yep.
Right?
Where everyone in the mall saw her.
First of all, so the jewel thieves steal the jewels, and then as they're kind of running away, one guy drops a gun, and some lady's like, "Oh my God, again!" And then now everyone's running away in the whole mall. And then that guy, he's like, "I don't want to go back to jail," so he grabs a little girl.
Yeah, he's about to kill her.
First of all, they all run up when they're escaping. They go up the stairs.
I'm sure there's going to be like an 80s helicopter on top.
Sure. Okay.
It's the 80s. They have a helipad.
Sense. Okay, yeah, there's always a helipad on the mall. That makes sense. So he grabs this little girl and hangs her over the balcony. And he's dropped his bag full of gold bars.
Yeah.
And he's just holding this girl over the balcony.
I honestly didn't know his thought process.
Everyone's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "What are you doing?" Like, this is a terrible
You went from like theft to murder.
Yeah, but not only that,
like just adding charges.
Not only that, what are you going to do? If you drop the little girl, then they're definitely going to shoot you.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's not, if he was grabbing her and holding her hostage.
Yeah,
so
or like as a shield, yeah.
So they can get away, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But why is he going to drop her off the balcony?
Cocaine. He was on a shit ton of cocaine.
I forgot, 1984. Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
He was on a shit ton of cocaine.
Also, there's no cocaine in this movie.
Yeah, that was the real fake part.
Like if you're going to have a guy like Max Lord be the bad guy, he's got to be doing cocaine all
absolutely.
the time.
That's why he got all those batshit ideas.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, so he does. Wonder Woman swoops in with her magic lasso, swinging from the ceiling, and grabs the girl and saves her, and then starts,
and then uses her batarang,
and then uses her tiara to hit the cameras. Like, oh, I don't want people seeing me. Like, first of all, you had to enter the mall. There's cameras at every entrance. You ran in with your fucking Wonder Woman outfit with a glowing lasso that you then lassoed up to the thing, swung in, harrowing, rescue, and then you take out the cameras.
Well, even
it's not how cameras work. They've recorded you.
The news reporter said like, "Oh, people are reporting this happening," and I'm sure everyone's like, "They were all on cocaine."
Yeah,
so they don't know what they saw.
They are all on cocaine. Yeah. So it just. That didn't make any sense. And then she's always like, shh, to all the little girls and like winking at them. And they're like, oh, yeah, I'm just like, dude, what
that's what you do to kids.
Yeah.
Isn't that what you do to kids? I don't know.
And I mean, it was just so heavy handed with all the, oh, she's a role model to little girls. You know what I mean? And I get that. Wonder Woman naturally is a role model.
You don't need to add the extra stuff.
I don't need them like winking at the camera and like, pointing at me like, get it? Your little girl can look up to me. I don't need that thrown in the face.
So let's talk about what you did like. The invisible jet.
Ooh, the invisible jet, though. Ever since they announced a Wonder Woman movie, I've been asking for, demanding
the invisible jet.
The invisible jet, and we finally got it. It's kind of a bullshit answer of why it...
My thing is like, okay.
Turn it invisible, but...
They were like, okay, we need to go to the Middle East, and I don't even remember why they needed to go. Oh, because Lord, I think, was going to be there. And she was like, oh, let's go to the Smithsonian where I work. They have jets, for whatever reason, that are fueled up, ready to go.
Okay, so, like, I've been to the Smithsonian, And they do have airplanes and stuff there, especially there in space.
They had like a new jet.
But this is like a new jet in a hangar filled with jet fuel.
Yeah.
with the keys
And
in
now,
it.
granted, I am not a pilot.
Yeah.
I don't know how much fuel it takes to go from DC to the Middle East and back. I don't know that. I'm assuming it's a lot. I'm assuming there isn't jet fuel gasoline stations that you can go to just fill up.
Yeah, and show your museum ID badge.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, fuck. Smithsonian's always flying those things around.
It didn't bug you like how she made it. I don't know if
Also,
this is her power, if she
yeah.
can just turn things invisible.
Apparently that is now, yeah.
Okay, but like, is that in the comics?
I don't know.
Because she just kind of like
can tell?
Zen manifested a ball.
The reasoning they gave for it wasn't terrible because so she's the daughter of Zeus, right? And Zeus made Themyscira invisible
Yeah.
to to protect the Amazons. So it kind of makes sense. Like I was okay with that.
Okay.
It was stupid. Like don't get me wrong, it was kind of dumb. Like, oh, I think I can do this, and then whatever. It would be when you're watching a movie, especially like a superhero movie, you're always looking for like, some sort of foreshadowing and then the payoff for that foreshadowing, right? So we'll take the first Wonder Woman movie as a good example, right? The prequel prologue scene for that is Diana is eager to learn how to fight, and her mother's like, no, I don't want you to fight. I don't want you to get hurt or whatever because you're my daughter. And so she's always eager and she's constantly pushing. She wants to learn how to be a warrior and she wants to get better. And then she leaves the island to go fight in this war that she had just heard about with some guy she had just met. And so that's the foreshadowing that once she actually sees war and sees how terrible it is, then she realizes maybe I shouldn't have been so eager to go fight war. And it's not just playing around with swords. People are dying and it's ruining lives. That's like the setup and the payoff. So in this one, they're sitting in a jet together that Steve, who he only has flown World War I era planes.
He knew how to fly.
Knows how to hit all the buttons in a freaking 1980s jet.
And once again,
it looked like the jets in Top Gun, like an F-16 or whatever.
And again, I am not a pilot.
Yeah.
But I am assuming flying into fireworks is a bad idea.
I mean,
something can get in the engine.
Probably.
A fucking duck getting into the engine will do as much damage as a missile.
Yeah.
I'm assuming fireworks.
It's probably not good. It's probably not good.
Don't get me wrong. It was a cool visual. It did look fucking cool. I will admit that. But
also, like, the amount of technology in jets, even back then, was so much crazier than what they were. Because in World War I, like they showed in the first Wonder Woman, like to drop a bomb on a German thing, he tilts the plane sideways and drops a grenade out of the top of the plane.
He was out of missiles.
Like, no, that's just how they worked back then. And so now, like, to see that happen, to see him just like, let's see, thrusters? Yeah, that's probably it. Boop, 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 boop. Like, shouldn't he be shitting his pants looking at all this computerized technology in there?
A trash can
I get it.
amazed him.
The old stick. Yeah, I know how this works. Up and backing up. And
Subways amazed him.
Yeah.
A trash
They
can.
had trains back then. I don't understand why that was so crazy. Oh, it's a boxier, faster train. I get that. Yeah. Still stupid. Yeah, so the invisible jet, I didn't really have a problem with. I thought that was okay.
What about her learning to fly?
Well, I'm glad that she learned to fly because that's something that generally Wonder Woman does now. I don't know when that happened in the comic books because I don't think it was always there. But it was also weird when she learns to fly but still uses the lasso to grab clouds and pull herself forward. So, I mean, I don't know.
Also, what happened to her sword and shield?
Okay, so I read an article recently, and by recently I mean today, where Gal Gadot says that she doesn't use the shield and sword because she's trying to be, because these people are under the influence of someone else and they're not actually doing anything bad themselves, so she doesn't want to kill people. And I was like, okay, seems kind of weird, but then you bring it out in Batman v Superman and Justice League. Also, the sword gets destroyed in the first movie, but then she has another sword in Batman v Superman.
Oh, she got another one.
Kind of.
She works at the Smithsonian.
I mean, yeah, I'm sure you can get a sword. You know.
Oh, and
the
one
whole
thing,
point of the first movie was that the sword wasn't the God Killer; she was the God Killer.
yes.
But she had a problem with the cheetah.
Also, in Batman versus Superman, when she does the whole like cling, like bashes, and
Wonder Woman,
and like pushes back Doomsday,
Yeah.
you know, does some damage. It did nothing to Cheetah.
Right.
When she did it, she did a little spiral and just went right through it.
Right.
Like, I thought that was fucking weird.
Yeah. Well, yeah, she did that, and it knocks Ares, the God of War, back.
Yeah. And at that point, all right, well, you saw it more recently than or I guess you started again. Was that after she relinquished her wish or pre? Because if it's pre, then it's like, all right, she wasn't strong enough. But if it was after, it makes no sense.
I think it was because that was in the White House fight, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So Steve Trevor was at the White House.
All right. So all right.
The only time that they fight where she has relinquished her wish is when Cheetah's in full, cheetah mode.
Yeah.
And that was stupid. And then she goes and like electrocutes Cheetah underwater, but then it doesn't kill Cheetah. Doesn't affect Wonder Woman at all, which, I thought about it. I'm like, okay, she's the god, daughter of Zeus, I guess.
Yeah, okay.
I can kind of see that. But then, like, it doesn't do anything. The cheetah knocks her out, I guess. But, like, you don't see her like, oh,
Catnip.
Yeah, it was just the water. Cats hate water. Yeah. And yeah, so she's losing her powers, but slowly. Where everyone else, the bad monkey paw effect happens like immediately almost.
She's Wonder Woman.
There's a lot of those kind of, I know you're joking, but there's a lot of those kind of explanations in this movie, which is why it's so frustrating. It's like, okay, when the monkey paw or the Dreamstone can literally make nuclear weapons appear
instantly
and launch instantly, why do they have to bring a dead guy back to life by putting him into another body several days later?
Yeah.
Right?
It was bad.
It was just...
The end also was really, really bad.
Oh, let's talk about the end.
Like, first off, she couldn't get the lasso through. Like, she kept trying to throw it, and it kept getting pushed back, but somehow it crawled its way there, off screen.
You ever do that thing, like, in elementary school where you do the jump ropes and you, like, swish them back and forth? It was like that.
That just snuck underneath?
Woo! Like, snaked its way over to him.
I'm surprised no one questioned that ending. It was way...
I think plenty of people questioned
Well, I mean, like, in the movie
process, yeah.
It was really preachy, and, like, to get me to believe that the whole world is going to give up all their wishes because of a voice that no one can see. Like, not one person held their wish. Like, that seems ridiculous.
Not even the coffee guy?
Yeah, like, not one.
Oh, let me say this about the coffee guy. Once I was done with the movie and I was kind of thinking about it.
When he wished her to drop dead? Is that coffee guy?
No. The first guy, when they first see the stone, and they're like, yeah, it's supposed to be like a wish stone or something. And some guy comes over, he's like, I wish I had a coffee.
Oh, yeah.
And he walks away, and someone's like, yeah, so Elvie didn't want her coffee or whatever. Does anybody want it? He's like, look at this fucking coffee. And I was like, first of all, that's a fun little foreshadowing moment. I enjoyed that.
Mm-hmm.
But what would have been really funny is if he took a sip, he's like, ugh, vanilla. or something like that.
Also, where it went bad right away.
Okay. I guess, maybe no one thought of that, but what happened to that guy? He was like,
we don't know.
He gets a phone call. It's like, oh, your mom's dead. It was like, oh, fuck.
For coffee? That's not even.
It's not fair. She always loved coffee. So in the end, Max Lord, he has become the Wishing Stone. First of all, how did he know about the Wishing Stone?
Didn't matter.
Doesn't matter. She's Wonder Woman.
Yeah, cocaine. He did a lot of research.
I bet there's a rock that if you touch it, it grants you wishes.
Yeah.
So he basically has become the Wishing Stone, and he seems to have like a need of people wishing off of him, right?
It hurts him every time he does it. It weakens his body.
Yeah, but he's also like addicted to it.
Yes.
Because he's like
cocaine.
Always. Yeah. It's a symbol for cocaine. And so he decides, hey, how can I get more wishes? And the president's like, oh, we have this technology that shoots particles down into technology and will make a broadcast heard no matter what the technology is. Which, first of all, it's a fucking crazy.
Yeah.
That's a crazy statement. They're saying that like these computers that are not hooked up to the internet.
Yep.
Because the internet doesn't exist yet.
It's
They
infancy.
send magical particles down from satellites in space into this device, and it reworks this device into having an antenna that can receive a signal.
Yeah, magic.
It's fucking stupid. And anyway, but then they're like, okay, so once you gain access to this, anyone in the world can hear. He's like, so I can touch them? He's like, well, you not.
Oh, that's the other thing. He had to touch them.
He had to touch them.
Yeah.
And so he was like, yeah, so this device, shoots down into any other technology, and it makes you, it gets you in touch with anyone in the world. He's like, oh, so I touch anyone in the world? And even the president was like, no, it's a figure of speech.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, but it's going to work anyway.
It's going to work anyway. And so he broadcasts himself, and people around the world hear some crazy man on the television saying like, hey, just say your wishes out loud and they'll come true. And they're like, oh, well, I wish Russia had more nukes. I wish I had $1 billion. I wish she'd drop dead. And so all these wishes start happening.
Yep.
So you're telling me that not one person in the entire world wished for world peace?
Yep. No. It's the 80s. Everyone was selfish. They wanted money.
The 80s were a simpler time. You see, and how many guys would you see walking around with like 18-inch dicks?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, a million. He's like, oh,
Yeah, absolutely.
But then he turns him gay.
Yeah, and so
that was how it happened in Bedazzled. Remember that movie?
Yeah, with the switch. That was actually a good movie.
That was fun.
But anyway, so my thing
Better
is
movie than this.
Why Max? Like, okay, so he could only get someone to wish once. Once he did that, where he had the whole world wish, he's done. His power, essentially, like, what can he do? The whole world already wished for their wishes.
Right.
He what was he? I don't know.
Well, yeah. What was his
end game?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? He wanted to be healthy. All he could ask, hey, wouldn't you wish for me to be healthy?
I think he did in one of his, manic tirades. He like one of the things he pulled from someone's wish was that he pulled their health. So it was like healing him as he was doing this. But it doesn't mean he's not going to continue to die afterwards.
Yeah.
And yeah. So stupid. And then the end of the movie, the way she beats it is she puts the lasso of truth around him, and the lasso of truth not only makes you tell the truth, but lets you see the truth, which we found in that stupid scene where she's like, where Steve Trevor's like, what's this big wrapped up thing? He's like, oh, it's armor from my culture. Here, grab onto this. He's like, what? I'm telling the truth. He's like, no, it shows you the truth. It was like, oh, it's from an Amazon lady in the past. He's like, well, that's what you just told me. But that was to set up the end where he sees that his kid is like in trouble, running through the streets of Washington, D.C. or whatever.
Which throughout the whole time in the movie, he did not give one fuck about his kid.
Yeah. Yes, his strangely Asian kid.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, it's fine, I guess.
Fine, whatever.
It's just an odd choice. And then so he, and then she lassos him. So he sees that he's doing terrible things or whatever. And then she's, talking him down like, oh, you've got to live. These are lies. You've got to, live truth or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever convoluted message they came up with for this movie. And so, and then everyone in the world's like, you know what? I don't want an 18-inch dick.
Yeah. I don't want to be rich.
It was fine the way it was. I mean,
the homeless dude that wished
six is nothing to complain about. Yeah.
The homeless dude who's like dying.
Can't wear my short shorts. It is the 80s.
Had no home and he was cold. He's like, you know what? I could go back to dying. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess I could give this house back.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? The cancer that I have, it was okay.
Yeah, it
wasn't
fine.
that bad. You know what? I didn't like my grandma that much anyway.
Yeah.
She can bite the dust.
It was just so weird. And it reminded me way too much. Remember when she did that weird thing where she was singing and got she tricked all these other actors into singing Imagine.
Oh, Imagine, yeah.
It just felt like that. It just felt out of touch and preachy. And I was like, dude, there's other things you could have done.
Also, I felt like she did a terrible job acting in this movie.
Yes.
Which So there was one scene when she's actually giving up Steve Treasure and renouncing her wish. That was great. You saw real pain on her face and everything. That was great. The rest of it was so dumb and so like just like dead.
You know what it was?
What?
She wasn't doing cocaine.
That's true.
Everyone else was.
Everyone else was. Like when she's talking to Kristen Wiig, like they go out to lunch for the first time.
Yeah.
Literally, they open up a scene where she's like, "Ha ha ha! Oh my God, you're so funny. No one's made me laugh like that for years." That was a line that I wrote down.
Yeah.
On my phone. I'm like, oof.
Yeah. It felt fake. It felt.
It was so fake. And so one of our Instagram, I guess she wasn't a follower, but saw our comment somehow because we were shitting on Wonder Woman. What was her name? Nina something?
I don't know.
Look it up while I tell the story. So she mentioned that this whole movie is trying to pay homage to the 80s movies, like the Christopher Reeves Superman movies, where everything's a little bit more lighthearted and over the top. And I get that. Like I could see that feeling in this movie. Like Pedro Pascal's character feels very much like what's his face's Lex Luthor, the original one. Gene Hackman.
Yes. I'm not going to read this. I'll let you read this, but
it felt very much like that. And we could. I can read it.
Yeah, I'm not going to read that.
Let's see. This might be a little bit. Yeah, we're good. So yeah, it's Tina Senna on SENA on Instagram. So she says, as a huge Wonder Woman fan, from the comic books, the show, collectibles, and even meeting Linda Carter in person, which would be fucking tight. I added that. I expected a lot too, but also saw the movie and knew what it wanted to be. An homage to the Christopher Reeve Superman, a feel-good story to remind us all to not let this year get the best of us. And also a deeper look into Diana's struggle to live up to what she is and who she is. She literally gave up the love of her life to save the world. Barbara's story was basically a glimpse into what happens when we ostracize people. And Max Lord's story was basically a classic 80s villain of every damn comic book of the era. The guy who wants to be his own hero and doesn't realize he's already the hero in someone else's story. His son. Yeah, it was long. Yeah, it started lighthearted and got dark. But DC films are always darker. It was not hot garbage. It wasn't perfect. But I'm legit still waiting for any comic book film that is. I sat through 3 hours of the last Avengers movie just to see them all come back to life. Somewhere, somehow, we all forgot to sit back and be entertained.
Well, that's the thing is that I was entertained. I will say she puts a good spin on it, but
I like if I heard that review of it before I was going to watch the movie, I'm like, oh, this is going to be fun. I'm excited. May not be exactly what I was thinking of, but it'll be. This is what they're going for. But then once I watched it, it wasn't entertaining to me at all. The CGI looked terrible.
Yes, it did.
We saw a brief clip of it when she's running fast at the end through the streets, running Wonder Woman fast. And we saw a clip of that at Comic-Con like 2 years ago, which also, this is not telling us anything about 2020 because this movie has been worked on for like 3 years.
Yeah.
We saw a clip of that and we're like, ooh, that looked rough. But they were like, they had started filming at like a month previous. So they were like, it was early, no CG or anything. So I'm like, okay, that'll look better once the movie comes out.
What's funny?
It did not look better.
I called it. I was like, when I saw that, I was like, oof.
Yeah.
I don't know. When I saw that cut and then...
I kept trying to say like, oh, Christian, like this is pre-production. Like they just started filming like 2-3 weeks ago, they said.
Yeah, and I was like, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Turns out I was right.
They didn't touch it again after that. The fighting was nowhere near as good as the first movie. The Lasso of Truth, which it's a cool weapon for her to use, and I can see why it's hard for them to make it do everything that they want without it looking stupid. There were some scenes like when she's spinning it and it's deflecting bullets. That was cool.
Yeah.
I like that. When it's splitting into two different lassos and grabbing, jets up in the sky and, showing people visions and stuff, I just didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
It was just so stupid.
I'm actually really surprised they right away greenlit the new one.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Well,
with the same director.
Yeah. Patty Jenkins, I think they're trying to make her like the Kevin Feige of DC, I think. And maybe the Jon Favreau of DC. And the reason is, the first Wonder Woman movie, remember when that came out, all the other DC movies that they were trying to build this DC universe of had not done very well.
No, this is the one that started pretty well.
This was the one where people were like, oh shit, they can actually make a good movie every once in a while. So I think what's happening is she's like the golden child of Warner Brothers DC right now. And obviously, they greenlit it so soon after. I'm sure they haven't seen all these reviews and stuff. And I don't think she's a bad director. The first movie was great. And then she also directed Monster, which was a very good movie as well. Obviously very different.
Yeah.
But I'm not ready to write her off as a bad director because I don't know what happened with the production of this movie. If this was her vision, start to finish, and she's like, oh my God, my masterpiece, then yeah, she's a bad director. Because I don't think you can watch this former and look at it as a well-constructed, well-written movie. I can't see that. Former guest of Nerds with Friends, Luke Gygax, son of Gary Gygax, inventor of D&D, also said that, he and his family enjoyed it.
He said, well, I'll just read it.
Yeah.
I just had it.
Yeah.
My family enjoyed it, watching it. Is it bound to be a classic? Nah, but I don't know why people want to dump all over it so much, but to each their own.
Yeah. And, and I get that, I think I could see a lot of people just enjoying this. If you want to just turn on something, especially with kids, kids probably love the shit out of this because they're
colors.
They're bright colors. They're winking at people, all the time. They're like, oh my God, threw their little girl into a teddy bear. I love teddy bears. But yeah, as a 34, soon to be 34-year-old man watching superhero movies, I was not impressed. So there was a post-credits stinger at the end.
Yes.
Where there's, we see a telephone pole that's falling down. It's going to crush a bunch of people in some market or something. And you see a lady with brown hair, who we assume is Wonder Woman, going, and then she just puts a hand up and she's got the bracer thing on and just palms it and like fucking tosses it and saves people's life. And some lady's like, oh my God, thank you so much. You saved me. And she turns around and it's Linda Carter.
Yes.
And she's like, oh, no worries. I've been doing this for a long time. And she literally winks at the camera. And like, I love Linda Carter. Okay. But after watching that shit fest of a movie, I was just like, why do you hate me, Patty Jenkins? So she's Asteria, and
yes.
she was the Amazon who got left behind. Maybe I'd be down if she shows up in the third movie and is like helping Diana on some mission. I would like that. I don't think it's going to happen.
How'd you feel about the forced Christmas at the end?
It went.
Where did that?
So remember, it went from 4th of July with the fireworks to Christmas.
Yes.
In this movie. Why?
Where she sees the dude that she had sex with no consent.
Yeah.
And she's kind of thinking about it. She's like, oh, maybe.
She's like, I want one more taste of that.
I don't know.
It was bad.
Hey, man, to the people that enjoyed it, that's cool.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I love shitty B-rated horror movies, so I'm with you. You know, Cody shits on me for liking those movies.
And I like, cinematic masterpieces. And
I don't shit on you for
this. This was, thanks. You let me like my expertly crafted movies. I appreciate that. Yeah, if you enjoyed it, obviously don't let us sway your opinion. I think we've come to expect a lot out of superhero movies. Also,
Marvel.
She shitted on Avengers Endgame, which was excellent.
Yeah. That scene.
Also, Tony Stark died.
And
Black Widow.
Where they all come back, dude, still gives me chills.
Oh my God, yeah. When Cat picks up Thor's hammer, boner every time.
It's like to the left. There was so many things. Someone put a clip together
you're telling me that Marvel is expert at setting up foreshadowing and then paying it off later?
Yes,
Christian, I know that.
There was a lot, and someone did a cool video with Falcon and Cap, Iron Man and Spider-Man, and they would show the other parts. There were so many. And I was like, "Fuck, I missed that." I was like, "I fucking missed that." Like now that I see it, I appreciate the movie even more.
100%. And that's what makes a good movie is that setup and payoff. You know, it's you know, the character struggles with this, and they learn from that struggle and succeed with it later. They had this one weakness now they've overcome it. They had this one strength, they lose it, they gain it back again. Like the storytelling, you know? And this movie just did not have that. Let us know what you guys think down in the comments on YouTube, or you know, when we release this on anywhere you get your podcast, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Let us know in the comments what you thought of Wonder Woman 1984. Are we crazy? I don't think we are.
I don't think.
But if you have, like, you know, strong points, and like what's her name, Nina Senna on Instagram, and Luke Gygax for that matter, you know, we love to hear your opinions, and you know, we're not mean people. Like you view that conversation. We were very courteous to everyone. We like to discuss things, so that's part of why we started the show.
I'm not gonna lie, I was gonna stir the pot a little bit. I was like, well, Cody,
I was just waiting. I was trying to type really fast, because I'm like, Christian's gonna say something. It's like, well, Cody thinks you're a dumb bitch.
No,
like, Jesus Christ.
I wasn't gonna say that, but I was like, I don't know. Cody said something real Wonder Woman, or just in the kitchen or something like that. I don't know what he meant by that.
Shit.
But
Yeah, don't say that.
That's what he told me in person. I don't know.
No, I like a strong lady. After all, Wonder Woman was modeled after a dominatrix. So
nice.
That's where she came from. Look it up. Anyway, thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching on YouTube. Again, let us know what you thought down in the comments, or on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. All that information you can find at nerdswithfriendspodcast.com. And, you know, let's just hope that the next movie that Warner Brothers releases on HBO Max is a good one.
Yeah.
Right?
And WandaVision.
Oh, yeah. Well, all the Marvel stuff's going to be great. They haven't let me down yet. Even their worst one's still good. Thank you, Christian. As always, Happy New Year to all of you guys listening, and to all the nerds out there. Remember, you're not alone. You're with friends. This is Nerds with Friends. Thank you, and good night.